Hi, Dyslexic Genius here. I'm back on the Victor R. Governor, and I'm going to show you the final assembly of this and things I've done to it and how everything works. One, you want to make sure that the springs in the screw are tight. I use this size plier because it has a nice round hole. You just drop the round ball in, lock in, put the spring in, the screw in, and tighten it up. Make sure it's tight. You want to make sure you oil that screw. All screws you want to make sure you oil. On assembly, you put the flywheel in first, then you lock down the end piece with a screw that goes into the hole on a Victor R. Then the round speed control right here goes on, and then you start inserting the springs. Before I inserted it, I scraped all the sides off. I scraped the top, and then here on my sandpaper, I took it and I sanded down the tops.
The leathers.
The leathers. I wanted to get them smoothed out because what they do is they wear into the grooves, so you get these groove marks. That causes a drag on your reproducer. I also...
On your governor.
On my governor. I got a reproducer on the brain today. And I preloaded them with oil before I started. You know, you just come in here after you clean them all out. Make sure you clean all the sides out. Give it a little shot there. There we go. Now what you do is you set it on the 4 balls. You bring in your spring. This goes for all 3 springs. You bring it around like that. I use the scissor piece, the screwdriver that flexes in and out to hold the screw.
And is the wing side up or down?
Yeah, the wing side, these have to be up. So you just tilt up a little, put the screw through the hole. What you do is you just kind of bend it a little, put the screw in the hole, and then come around. Wipe off the excess oil. Now what we do is we get a flat piece. We push down on the flywheel, and you see the springs move because they're all loose. Come around. Always pushing down. And we push down here.
And you're tightening those top screws?
Tighten the top screws. Let me show you a little trick here in a minute. We're going to get those snug. The top ones are always the hardest. Now what you do, come back. Give it a little bop on the screw. And you see here, this screw doesn't have as wide a gap as the other one, so I have to go to a smaller screwdriver. That's tight. Now what we're going to do is we're going to insert it into here. Now, when we put it together, the governor is going to come in at an angle, go around that pivot. You see, we have this little pointy piece, the pivot, and that rides in here. Once you assemble this, this will never, ever get oiled or again, because it's going to be sitting there and there's no way to oil up under the gear. So what we're going to do, we're going to do a little trick. We're going to use some super lube right here, but I'll just use the lid. We're going to get a little bit of super lube because it's very light. And we're just going to fill that little hole up with super lube, just like that. Now we'll just come in at an angle like that, boom. Then we're going to take the other pivot, the bronze piece, and we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to fill that up with a little super lube. Just a wee bit. Because this stuff is thin and very pliable. And why am I using this? Because STP would be a little bit too thick and runny. Now the hard part is, you hold the governor and you push the brass piece down. Missed it again. There we go. We're going to hold the casting. Tighten the screw up. You're not going to crank down hard on it. You're just going to get it till you feel pressure. Now, when you look at the ball bearing, all that work I talked about, getting the burrs off the brass and everything, watch the outside of the balls when it spins, and they're all in line. And that is how you get a really good governor running. Now what you have to do, you have to hook up this monstrosity. When you look at this bracket, you're going to go, oh, I took it off and I don't remember what way it went in. It's very simple. You see this little mark? That's where the speed control knob from the top came in and ran on it. So we know exactly where it goes.
So this is part of the speed control.
Yeah, this is part of the speed controller. So you're going to come in and you're going to grab that hole and you just pick up on it. And it pops in like that. You saw how I did it. I hit the bottom pin on this. My angel can focus in here. There's a pin right here, and straight down there's another pin. So I hooked the bottom one, came up and lifted that up. Little oil. And that's all the oil you're going to need for it. So what I do is I just kind of pick up on this thing. See how I picked it up and it's writing? There we go. You got to get it over the little lip thing. There we go. There's a step on that screw. There we go. Got it in the lip. And this should have just a little bit of play. They all do. So this will mount on the machine, and then your speed control will be there. You can hold your speed control now and watch. Perfectly round. No ball is fluctuating out on this. Make a little bit of play in there, and you're good. And that's my tip for the day.